people aren't usually riding horses in the sky because, we don't have a lot of winged horses or anti-gravity devices to help out the cowboys. Hello everyone, it's Micah. On our Tuesday reaction series, we are counting up from the distant past, the 1940s at this point, and listening to each of the number one records of the year as determined by Billboard. Pretty soon it'll be the Hot 100, but the Hot 100 in 1949, which is the year we're up to, the Hot 100 does not exist yet. But my sources tell me this was the number one song on the comparable charts. This is Riders in the Sky by Vaughn, Monroe and his orchestra. I think 3 of the 4 that we've listened to from the 1940s have been So-and-So and his orchestra. And apparently pop music at this time was filled with band leaders with large orchestras behind them, or I guess in some cases they're bands, but maybe what we would call bands, because I remember being underwhelmed by one of the orchestras that we heard in the prior week. But at any rate, it's just interesting to see the conventions. I guess we sort of today we sometimes make note of the fact that every other rapper has Lil, L-I-L in front of their name. And I mean, what's really the difference? Why would you need to talk about everyone's orchestra? Like, I don't know. It's just interesting to know like the different naming conventions that happen over time. So this is a song that is a first, I think it's the first. Like I'm already getting, I'm in the 4th week of reaction, so I'm starting to lose my memory of what everything I've reacted to before is, but I think this is the first song that is not a love-focused song. And I did note the first couple of songs tended to be very male-centric songs about a guy pining away over the female object of his affection. And I do know enough about this song to know that this is a country and western ballad type song. I grew up in Nashville, so I have a lot of country and western music baked into my being, whether I like it or not. It's not my music of choice, but it's a lot of what I grew up with, or a lot of what was in the background of my upbringing. So I do have a fair amount of background on this, and I'm sure I've heard this song a number of times. Probably haven't heard it in many years, and this is what I remember about the song, that it was a country and western ballad. In my research for the song, I did show that Johnny Cash re-recorded the song in 1978, so that might be the version I'm more familiar with, because that came out when I was younger, and I would have probably been exposed to it at that time, if not before. But I'm interested to hear this version, and to hear if this is actually a version that I'm familiar with. I know there are several different takes on this song from over the years, but this apparently is the most successful one. It went number one in 1949, and I'm reading on what you see on the screen, which I don't know how visible it is, but it says vocal refrain by Vaughn, Monroe and the quartet. So that's interesting. So let's just hear, before I get lost in thought, let's just dive into it.
An old cowpoke went riding out one dark and windy day. Upon a ridge he rested as he went along his way, when all at once a mighty herd of red-eyed cows he saw, a-plowing through the ragged skies. and up a cloudy draw. The ghost heard in the sky. Their brands were still on fire and their hooves were made of steel. Their horns were black and shiny and their hot breath he could feel. A bolt of fear went through him as they thundered through the sky, for he saw the riders coming hard, and he heard their mournful cry.
Okay, so this may not be the version that I'm familiar with. I want to say that I'm very much more hearing Johnny Cash's voice on this song than I'm hearing this voice. And what I'm wondering is, whose voice is this? It says the vocal refrain, which I think is that Yippee-yi-yi part, is by Vaughn, Monroe and the quartet, but who's singing this part? And if so, can we get him fired, please? Because I don't know, it's just not working for me. And like, I know that's very dismissive, but this vocal is very much in the exact same vocal style as the other songs that we've heard from the 1940s. It sounds like Frank Sinatra trying to do a country and western record, and maybe that was a way of commercializing it. Maybe this is kind of how it sounds to some people with this bro country that's very hip hop inspired. It's just jarring in a very unpleasant way. That's what I'm getting from this. And I'm saying for the bro country, that's not my opinion, but I know a lot of people have that opinion about it. But this is just, I'm not really into the way the vocals by themselves are fine. It's not working for me with a Western themed song. And my other observation is that the lyrical content is really, it seems very supernatural and dark. It almost sounds like the fantastical metal songs of the 1980s that the parents were all up in arms about. I wonder if there was any outcry at the time that this song was diabolical or anything, because the imagery here, the eeriness of it, I mean, and I know an alternate title of the song is Ghost Riders in the Sky, and I think he's used the word ghost already, but at any rate, people aren't usually riding horses in the sky because, we don't have a lot of winged horses or anti-gravity devices to help out the cowboys. So this is something that is supernatural in nature. So I wonder if there was any outcry about the song. I know that now it seems like a classic, but if you listen to it, take a step back from it and listen to it, it's a little unsettling. It's almost like a supernatural Western horror film. Like what was the one? It's like Wild Wild West, but with a creepier angle to it. So, and you know what? Maybe I'm missing the overall point of the song, but it just seems like a supernatural Western ballad to me. But let's listen to more and see if I can get more insight.
Ghost riders in the sky, their faces gaunt, their eyes were blurred, and shirts all soaked with sweat. They're riding hard to catch that herd, but they ain't caught 'em yet, 'cause they've got to ride forever on that range up in the sky, on horses snorting fire as they ride on, hear their cry. Yippee-yi-oh, yippee-yi-oh. Ghost riders in the sky. As the riders loped on by him, he heard one call his name. If you want to save your soul from hell, a-riding on our range, Then, cowboy, change your ways today, or with us you will ride, trying to catch the devil's herd across these endless skies. Yippee-yi-yi, yippee-yi-yi-oh, ghost riders in the sky.
This is without a doubt my least favorite vocal I've listened to in my reaction video so far. That high note at the end was anticlimactic. It was the opposite of what I feel like it was going for. And again, I don't think the voice matches what I would want from the song. And to answer answer the supernatural part of it, from when I stopped the video the first time, clearly the last half of the song explicitly talks about who they were and what they were doing up in the sky, and it definitely invokes those religious overtones, and I guess you could say in a way it's trying to be a moral cautionary tale, but it's a little muddled to me. Maybe I need another listen to the song. It just seems creepy for creepy's sake. I'm not really sure if there was a bigger purpose other than to be creepy, because I'm not getting, there's no real explanation for what they're doing there or why they appeared to this person except to warn them in a Ebenezer Scrooge kind of way, to change their ways or change his ways or whatever. But there is no doubt that the melody of this song is great. The songwriting structure and the refrain of the yippee is, which truly could be really, really cheesy. It actually comes across very solemn and serious. And like the backing vocals, the quartet vocals, I have no problem with those. I just wish that I had. It makes me want to listen to the Johnny Cash version, which I'm sure would be a lot more pleasing to my ears. But that's a truly interesting listen. It's the first time on these throwbacks, these 40s songs that I've been listening to. This is the first time that I'm super familiar with the song as a song, and I have an ability to get a little bit further than what the heck is going on here. So it's good for me. It's refreshing for me to be able to do that. And as we get into the 50s next week, starting with 1950 next week, and then in another few years we'll be getting into the rock era, I know I'm going to start being a lot more familiar with the songs that show up. And I'm looking forward to being able to speak a little more intelligently about some of those songs. But a really interesting listen. Not altogether pleasant to my ears, but again, I'm sure it was a perfect sound for that year. Apparently so. If it was the #1 song of the year, it must have resonated with lots of folks. And what I am interested to know, is this the first breakout Western hit, country and Western hit, like nationwide, that wasn't a niche kind of phenomenon? It's the first one we've encountered since we started looking at 1946's #1 song. But is this really one of the songs that kick-started country music as an industry, or is there something further back that we can really point to as being the real impetus for starting country music as an industry? If you have any of that background or history, I'm surely not going to get to researching that before I post the videos. So please leave me some breadcrumbs in the comments. That would be wonderful. And also, if you don't want me to review songs from 1949, I mean, why are you here if you don't? But if you would rather me listen to something else, I'm also definitely taking requests, and I would like for you to drop those in the comments as well. I don't have the #1 song of 1950 in front of me, so it's going to be, as I said on the Monday video, it's going to be a surprise to me too. At least I don't know what it is now. We'll put it that way. So thank you for watching. Please Remember to like the video if you indeed liked it. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. And please remember to make music better.